Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Chris. Alongside me is Brianna.
Hi, everybody. How's it going? We're still in quarantine, but we don't care.
Still in quarantine. This is ExtraNormal podcast, by the way. Failed to mention that in the beginning. Yeah, we're in week God knows what of quarantine, but yeah, how's it been going for you so far this week?
This week's been good. It's actually Easter, so
We're recording on Easter. That's true. Truth.
So everything's good. We had a really relaxing day, which is nice. Usually we're driving around and with all the family, which we love all the family, but we never just did the three of us for Easter, so it was pretty cool. Like, we had a really, really good time.
Yeah, it was kind of an introvert's dream, really, especially for me.
A dream for you.
Oh, 100%. 100%. Yeah, so, yeah, it was amazing, 100%. So, what are we going to get? Let's get right into what we're going to get into, because this is actually...
a live stream.
Live stream, it might be, I think it's probably, I would consider it a bonus episode.
It's always a bonus.
It's always a bonus. Always.
Okay.
But yeah, we're going to be recording twice this week, because we're actually finally getting into the quarantine groove. You know, there's that whole thing where you tell yourself you're going to be like uber productive, but you end up watching... catch-up episodes of Tiger King, that sort of thing.
Or you play Animal Crossing.
Oh my God, Animal Crossing. I don't know how many.
It's his fault. He's got me completely obsessed. You guys should play this.
Jesus Christ. The most fucking mundane game.
It's a good, mental outlet, you know, because we're all trying not to look too far into the future right now, so.
Yeah, it's scary up there.
It's pretty
Or out
insane.
there. Is it up there?
So,
out
yeah,
there? I think
like,
it's out
check
there.
it out, because you can decorate your house, like, you know. And I swear, it kind of gets like, it gets a vibe of like what you're into. Because, you know, obviously I love retro stuff. So like every time like I win something, it's always something retro inspired. I'm like, is this coincidence? Because this
well,
is
the best part of that
like.
game is that you sit inside, right? Especially in quarantine, you're not out playing. But you sit inside and decorate a fake house when you could be like decorating and reorganizing and all that stuff in a real house. It's kind of crazy.
Right.
So, but anyways, what are we going to be talking about today,
So,
whenever you're listening to it?
I feel like I have two groups of people that are really going to enjoy this, and it's really going to blow your mind, because all of my extraterrestrial fans are going to be like, wow, if they don't know this already. And then actually all of my vampire fans are going to be into this, and actually people so a third party too, people that are just into conspiracy theories, because this is like mind-blowing.
Yeah, Van Helsing is going to hate this shit though. I'll tell you that much.
Fuck him.
Not a fan.
Yeah, so
I'm a fan of him, but he's not a fan of.
So I came across the picture.
Did you say it? What are we going to be talking about today?
Well, no, I didn't.
You didn't say it. Oh, you're still teasing.
Yeah,
still teasing.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Sorry. Leave the excitement. Go ahead.
Drum roll, please.
That's about as much.
I want like a Christmas vacation.
No, that's not gonna. There you go. You gave yourself.
Thank you. Nobody else did.
Sometimes you gotta take care of yourself.
With your tongue.
I don't know.
Anyways, so we are going to be talking about Dracula, and actually we are going to be posting the picture that has really sparked this interest.
For you.
On our Instagram page. We'll probably do that as soon as we're done with this episode tonight. But so the conspiracy theory, and I'm so excited about this.
Okay, let's get into
it.
Let's get into Vlad the Impaler before we go completely.
So no teasers? I haven't even said what we're going to talk about though. Besides,
you still haven't.
Yeah.
So
should we do a history lesson first?
We should. We should first hold on.
We're not even.
We should first talk about who we're gonna talk about. I think that's a good start.
Dracula.
Who the fuck are we talking about? You said Dracula.
Okay.
This is what happens when you're going quarantine. I remember you saying Dracula, but we're gonna be talking about the guy behind the guy behind the movie behind the guy, Dracula, which is Vlad the Impaler, 1400s, right?
Yeah, 1431 was supposedly the year that he was born. They say, like, there's not an actual date, because I thought, oh, that'd be really cool. Like, what if you were born on his birthday, or you had your kid on the same day as Dracula? That'd be, like, wild. But there's no actual date. And I think, conspiracy theory segue, I think that there is a date, but I don't know. People are maybe hiding it for whatever reason. I don't know. But they
who's
say that,
hiding the date of Vlad these days?
anyways, let me finish. So his birthday is, they say that it was 1431, but it was either in November or December. So that's been, still.
Yeah, back then birthdays were kind of iffy. Like you were kind of born in a general time.
You
You didn't know,
lucky to be
like
alive.
you didn't have like this day is my day, and I'm gonna make it the whole month. Literally, you're like it could be any day this month.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Yeah, he was
So-
1431.
Yeah. And then so I thought that was like pretty interesting, and I kind of like tried to do some digging to find like, hey, like, like what if his actual birthday somewhere, and I really couldn't find it. If there's any information you guys have out there about Vlad the Impaler's birthday, aka Dracula, I would really like to know. I'm dying to
But
know,
what is it?
actually.
What is the thought process behind that? Do you think maybe?
Well, me and my like horoscope stuff.
Do you think he was born in the
Maybe we're a
beginning of time?
match. What if we're a match made in hell? In his case, heaven in mine. But I don't know. What if I want to know what sign he was?
He would not be a good.
I guess if he was November, December, I think he would be a Sagittarius. Depending if it was beginning or ending. I know you don't give a fuck.
I don't care about.
Yes, it's time for the history lesson.
I don't think he was reading his astrological sign. I don't think so. He might have.
Oh my gosh. So his father, also named Vod II, he became ruler of, I can't even pronounce the city that they were from.
I'm going to pronounce it fun. Wallachia. But it's Wallachia. Yeah.
Yeah, you just said it honky-tonkish.
Wallachia.
He's known to have joined the Knight Society called the Order of the Dragon. So
Yeah.
this is where it gets fun. So he was given his surname Dracula, and that means dragon. So when his son, Vlad the Impaler, his name was actually given the son of the dragon, which is
So let's get into
Dracula.
the origin of the name just a tad. I mean, this is not a history podcast, but so Daddy, who obviously gave Vlad the Impaler, probably had some real daddy issues, so he was probably a terrible father, as was, I think, I would say every father back then in those days. So he was Vlad the Second, who was Dracula's dad. He joined this knightly society, the Order of the Dragon, which was actually a Christian. I found out it was a Christian knightly society. I mean, I'd probably
Things
go to
were so
church
heavenly.
more if they talked about dragons and stuff like that. I mean, that would be cool.
I mean, I probably
More Dungeons
I'm
and Dragons
guessing,
type
like,
stuff
It
in
was
there.
more like when you think of a dragon, you think of powerful. You and if they're talking about knights,
I'm telling you.
you want to be a little intimidating. So dragons are kind of intimidating. So
Sure.
I think that probably has something to do with it. But the
I'm just giving
craziest
tips for the church. If you want more people in,
Lord.
start talking about dragons. Maybe throw some Marvel characters in there. That's real popular these days. So I'm just tip.
Anyways, like in ancient Romanian language, it's known to be translated to dragon, but in modern day Romanian language, it translates to the devil.
And that's Drac. So Drac. So Daddy again. Getting back to Daddy. So Daddy joined this weird society, kind of like a an Elks Club back in the days, except they were butchering people in the name of Christianity.
Can't.
But he joined that, and the ancient Roman word for dragon was Drac back in that day. And so it's actually been nowadays it's I don't know if it's because of Vlad, good old Vlad. It's actually now it means devil, which is kind of a whole nother can of worms. So Drac means dragon. This guy, Vlad the Impaler's dad, joined this order, and they're like, hey, you're the guy, so we're going to name you Dracula, which is of dragon at that time. Now it's of the devil. So that was Dracula. When Vlad the Impaler was born, he was given the name Dracula, which is son of the dragon.
Son of a bitch.
He was a real son of a bitch.
So, if you don't know, now you know.
So, yeah. So he was born into that kind of crazy daddy thing, and I saw that he didn't. Mama was kind of unknown, which was fairly typical actually that time for royalty because
there was somebody that Vaude II was married to, but he had so many mistresses, so they can't really say if it was his wife at the time or if it was a mistress, because they're saying that he basically probably had more children with his mistresses than his own wife,
which is still going on with royalty. They're just a little more nuanced about it. So they don't know They don't know who Mama is, and I think what they did was they just said, "Oh yeah, that's his wife." Essentially, he was taken in. He wasn't treated like a bastard. I mean, he was given up by his dad when the dad got in trouble with, I believe, the Turks. Mm-hmm. He gave up his two sons, which one of them being Dracula. But yeah, so he was taken in as if a wholehearted son, not any kind of like Game of Thrones bastard stuff.
So yeah, but when he was able to escape and get away from the Turks, he actually became the ruler, and he was king when he was 16 years old, which is wild. Yeah,
you had to jump into that stuff, and back in the days, you didn't get a lot of time to prepare or actually become a good leader. You just were you were thrown into stuff.
Right.
Yeah. So he became essentially king of his own province by pretty brutal ways.
I feel like what he did, because when he was taken prisoner, like, by the Turks, I'm sure he saw like horrible people getting tortured. He probably was tortured. It's just kind of like, not saying that I could condemn, I condemn, what he did, but like I'm not saying I condone what he did, but like, I'm just saying, like, I think at that time, like, you really have to show like you're a hard ass and that you're really mean for people to take you very seriously. So I feel like a lot of the stuff that he did, it really made him look more like a monster, more like a dragon than he probably was. And I feel like he probably had his people that work under him, like, tell little stories, like tell people that I dipped my bread in blood of my enemies and ate it after, I massacred them. Like, I don't know if he really did that. It could be possible. But, I'm talking on a man, if he was just a human being, just a man aspect of him.
Do you believe that, hold on, I hate to jump ahead so far ahead, but do you believe that Vlad the Impaler was an actual vampire? Like, undead vampire. Like, I think he might have dipped. So what we're talking about is...
What do you think?
The Germans' accounts said that he would, of his enemies, he would essentially bleed them out a little bit and then have a little, like, restaurant bread, an appetizer, and dip his victim's blood in it and eat it from there. Do I think he's a vampire? Mm-hmm. No. No, I don't. I think that...
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, on a human level, I could see where he was doing all this, like, dramatic, scary stuff where people were probably talking about him all over, like he... And then what he did, just, putting their heads on, basically, like, sticks, and just, like, thousands of them. That's pretty fucking scary.
Well, you don't get
smell alone.
You don't get the nickname Impaler without being a pretty fucked up dude.
Right.
He was, even at a time of savage tactics. I mean, I saw, excuse me, online that, any modern time he would have been hung for war crimes. Like, but back then they were just like, oh, that guy's rough. Like, like he was just the roughest of a bunch of.
But surprisingly, because I had done some research, like, it also said that, like, he also was, like, friendly with the ladies. Like, he had this way about him, which I thought was, like, kind of trippy.
Like in the movies? Like, he did a Gary Oldman thing where he had a harem of...
Yeah, like, see me now. Like, no, but, and so that was pretty interesting to me. Because somebody's so mean and so cruel, how could he have this charismatic side? But I guess that's a serial killer, right?
That is a serial killer. Look up, refer to, Ted Bundy and all those guys.
Yeah. So I find it all really fascinating. So now I want to get into the good stuff, the conspiracy theory.
So that was, I guess, apparently
extraterrestrial.
That was apparently our history of Vlad. He was an asshole. He was brutal.
He got down with the ladies.
Yeah, I think.
He was a ladies' man?
Yeah, he was a ladies' man, and I think he was absolutely vicious. And the legend spun from his brutality. In terms of like him, and we're gonna get into it. We're gonna probably have an episode real soon about vampires
in general
and what is kind of out there from folklore and evidence. But I don't think there's much evidence for Vlad being a vampire.
I think it depends.
Oh well, you can't say that do you think he's a vampire?
Well, are we going to get into my conspiracy theory?
No, what's the evidence that he's a vampire?
I feel like somebody that has that much thirst for blood, like he was not of this world. And it's like you think of all like just the legend of him. I mean, maybe he just wanted everybody just to really fear him if he was human. But I just feel like there's been so many, documentaries about it, movies made. I know they're all dramatized, books about it. But I feel like there's some truth behind.
I think that. Well, I think it's. I think I don't. I wouldn't. I wouldn't completely disregard the existence of vampires. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm the skeptic on this show, so surprise, surprise. But I think in terms of his version of a vampire, I don't know. I think for me, he was a complete psychopath. He is essentially, if you gave Ted Bundy a license, carte blanche to use power in kind of protecting the Romanian Empire or Wallachia and Transylvania and all those areas, protecting them, it was a guise. I mean, I think he was just a straight up psychopath. I think he enjoyed the sensation of murders. I think he was ruthless and that sort of thing. I think he was a psychopath. I don't know if he was a vampire.
I feel like the times kind of called for that. Like as much as like again as fucked up as that sounds, like it was a different time. Like you really had to scare people to because the Ottoman they were nuts too. So it's like.
I mean, there was a lot of brutality in war in those days. There's no doubt about that. That stuff was rampant. But out of the thing with Vlad in terms of just getting into sort of his baseline brutality is that if you stand out in those days, you got to be doing some real fucked up shit. If you're like, it's almost as if like in terms of murder scope. It's as if you are like you're in the AP class, but you're doing the best out of the AP class, and people notice you. Like, you gotta really stand out in those days to be labeled like demonic and brutal and a psychopath and that sort of thing, and to have the tales spun about him, going Slavic tales and German tales and all these different people who faced them, and the Turks apparently showing up to claim land and then seeing some of their fellow soldiers on these pikes and just turning away out of fear, like to scare those type of soldiers and warriors and stuff like that who are committed.
And I feel I definitely think that he was insane. I feel like the possession of power, I think it probably fucked with his head so much, because even the possession of the girl that he was in love with, it wasn't his wife at the time, and him again going through all this, he still was really religious. He wanted to get a divorce from one of his wives because he fell in love with Katrina, and for what we know as in all the vampire movies we've seen as Mina, and so with him being so obsessed with her, he hid locks of hair of hers,
psychopath.
Yeah, and just he was very possessive, and I guess they had a really long thing going on for 20 years. And it killed him inside that he could not fully be with her, because he couldn't get a divorce, which was, pretty crazy, especially for those times.
Well, in those times, I'm surprised because in those times, I don't know how factual that is, because in those times, especially with someone like Vlad, you didn't divorce, you just murdered your wife. That was the out. I mean, look at Henry VIII. I mean, just like when he was, it's.
But I don't know, like, when you think of it, like, I guess thinking of who he was, like,
he'd murder a wife.
But if he had kids, maybe he had a weird soft, because every Dracula story that we know, there's always a female interest. There is the soft spot. So maybe his kids and this love interest, Katrina, like, maybe that's where his soft spot was, and maybe he didn't want to kill his wife because she was the mother of his children. Maybe.
And he also had, who knows where this extended to, because he had a warped sense of Christianity. Some of the supposed Obviously. Brutality was in the name of Christianity. Like, he would, there's all kinds of stories that he would, if, someone had sex before they were wed, like, he would murder them,
chop their boobs off,
and feed it to whoever the man that they, the other side of the tango.
But then he was allowed to do it, so yeah.
Well, yeah, that's
interesting.
There's, sometimes religion is, rampant with hypocrisy.
Yeah. So are we ready?
We're ready.
So
you said, I'm sorry, you said something about you wanted to talk about Vlad the Impaler being
a few things to talk about.
Some things to get off your chest.
Yes.
Like Eminem, did he have some things
So we can start with the conspiracy of Vlad the Impaler, aka Dracula, being a vampire. Do I open-heartedly believe that he was a vampire? As much as I want to, I feel like it's a 50-50 chance, because...
Whoa! Brianna just went 50-50. This is a first.
Because I'll tell you why. Because I've done research on Dracula for like a really long time, just to get the understanding. And like I said, like, not that I'm a serial killer or I'm a dictator or anything like that, but I can see like where he used impaling humans for power, to scare people.
Sure.
Like, hypothetically, if he wasn't a vampire, we're still talking about him today, like, as if he, really, like, he just left this imprint in history, which is insane to me,
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like, yes, I love vampires. I do believe that they exist, 100%. Maybe there's some cover-ups of Vlad that he didn't really want people to know, because maybe, because they say that he's like the mecca of vampires, which we were doing some history earlier, and you found out the very first one, they say, actually came from Italy.
Yeah, so he's kind of the Vlad, at least Bram Stoker's fictionalized version of Vlad, is the origin story of like what a lot of people consider vampires. So, they're pale, they only come out at night, they drink blood, they turn into bats. That kind of the Bram Stoker's image of that originally really originated from.
That part where you said they turn into bats.
Don't say you believe.
Kind of reminds me of, if you guys listened to our last podcast, we were discussing.
Does it remind you of Batman?
Of the reptilian race and how they're known to be shapeshifters.
Uh-huh.
So I find a little bit of a correlation with that, and we'll touch base on that in a bit. But going back to, like, Dracula being the first vampire, I definitely don't believe that. Like, again, like, he was a prince. Like, he ruled. He, pillaged and conquered. And, again, he was very...
This feels like Freaky Friday, when the mom turns into the 13-year-old. I feel like I've encompassed your body officially now. I don't know how it happened, but my spirit took over your body, and you're saying
50-50.
That a 50-50 in
but
that
you realize that
you're going to go back in it in 10 minutes?
Dracula. Like, that doesn't mean that I don't believe.
But just Dracula. I'm surprised you don't believe that Dracula, like Vlad, was an actual vampire. I'm surprised. Well, I really am.
Well, should we get into my other conspiracy theory that will explain why?
That surprisingly, although it will be a surprise to you, the listeners and viewers, it will be surprising. Surprisingly, not a surprise, but not surprising for you, surprisingly.
Huh?
Follow the train, people.
I don't get it.
I don't get it either. So who is Vlad? So since he's not a vampire, since Bram Stoker, the liar, made him up, like took a little bit of flimsy facts and made up this
in our
last
last podcast, we had talked about, you know, the reptilian race, conspiracies and all that, and how I believe that those do exist. I find it interesting that all vampires can shapeshift into bats. Reptilians can shapeshift into humans and other forms of different species. So what brought my mind to this idea, I wish I could say I just thought of it and was like, oh yeah.
You could say that because nobody else knows about it. So
yeah, but I mean, why? I saw this image, which is like crazy to me. And I wrote down notes because I have so many questions, and I feel like you guys would like totally be like, yeah, like what's going on here? So in a old Romanian church, they have a painting of actual Vlad's castle, the infamous.
Yeah, Vlad is he's to a lot of people of Romanian descent in Romania and stuff like that. He's actually a national hero because he protected Romania. Mm-hmm. You know, despite his brutal tactics and all that that were vicious, he actually protected you know, the Romanian people. So yeah, there's all kinds of like statues and paintings and stuff like that. It's not hugely prevalent, but there's stuff there.
Right. So so, you know, first you're like, why, like knowing how evil this person is, like why would you have a picture of his castle in the church? That's one. In this painting in the castle, that actually, it was found, I know I put the date here. It was it's dated, so it's definitely not photoshopped. Somebody didn't make it yesterday and just put it in there. It's from 1523. So this painting is of his castle, but then hovering right above the castle is a UFO. And it is not even like, oh, it might be clouds. It is legitimate a UFO, and then there's like smoke around it. So you could say those are clouds, but it legit looks like there's smoke. So when I saw this image, I put like it all together. Like, you know, maybe what we think of.
I think I might give a drum roll for this right now. Ready? Hey, hold on. Can I give a drum roll for this? I didn't want to give it for the beginning, but I'm going to give a drum roll for this.
Give me that. So when you're looking at extraterrestrials and you're thinking of like a vampire that is definitely foreign to humanity, what's to say that a vampire is not an extraterrestrial? You're fucking welcome. I'm glad I blew.
Wait, a vampire is not an extraterrestrial, or is an extraterrestrial?
No, that it is extraterrestrial.
Okay.
Yeah. So like, because I said like, who's not to say that it is? You know?
I don't know. I'm not to say. I don't.
So like for me, it parallels again with the reptilian race. Like they obviously probably aren't the same. And there's a possibility they are. Like, you know, who really knows? I've never met either. But
well, does that mean that like the ETs showed up? Like, because there's no. Do you think they? Okay.
So many questions. And so many answers.
Not a lot of answers. A lot of questions. So do you think that the extraterrestrials came and visited and helped build his castle, or do you think they like showed up and like, oh no, this guy is fucked up. Like this guy is pretty nasty.
Well, I feel like, so like I said, it's all hypothetical. I wasn't there. You know, you guys are gonna probably
grateful
some
you
of you. He's gonna think I'm an idiot. I don't care what anybody thinks. This is just all I'm throwing ideas out there, things that come to my mind. So I feel like if we're going by, let's say, like the epic story that we all know of, what's the vampire movie? Not Interview with the Vampire.
It's
the one with my husband.
At First Bite. What's the Jim Carrey one?
No, definitely not.
That's not what we're talking about.
Anyways, like the traditional like story.
It's not even the name of the movie.
Of Dracula that majority of us know, besides this guy, is his like.
I know Dracula.
His epic love story and him wanting to fight and defend his country, and he basically makes a deal with the devil. So let's say that devil was an extraterrestrial. Maybe it was a reptilian. Maybe it's instead of giving him his eternal life, he became like them, and he had to, feed off of human blood. It was like, like, we're giving you this, we're going to let you win these battles, we're going to give you eternal life. Now you have to work for us. So maybe there's like something like that. His face. Would you like to leave a comment in my inbox?
No, I'm just confused. I don't know. I don't know. I think to jump on it a little bit, the fact that the painting has been, maybe if it's dated before that, maybe if it's dated to the time that he was around, he was still kicking it, drinking blood bread. Which you actually, if we live in Southern California, it's probably, if you ordered that same dish, bread soaked in blood, you'd probably have to pay like at least $40 a plate in LA for it, and it would be a hot restaurant.
Yeah.
It would be the spot. It would totally be the
disgusting.
spot. Like the blood of our victims would be the name of the menu item. Don't take that, guys. I know restaurants are all struggling, but please don't take that. No, the fact that it's in 1523 makes me because unless Vlad was like, I definitely saw an alien, which is that's not an impression of anybody. I definitely saw an alien, and then he related to this artist. Why is it in 1523? The guy in 1523 wasn't there, so it's not like, hey, behind Vlad, I definitely saw it. Unless the guy in 1523 saw an alien UFO.
I feel like what it's trying to symbolize is that, this is the story, the legend that was like given to us, 100 years prior. And maybe there was a picture of this. And then they redid it, they painted it in for the church. So I definitely don't think like why, it's like. So
are you saying that around up until 1523 or sometime right after that, there was a known folklore or legend or tale or historical account of.
If you guys Google
it,
UFO images from like, I don't know, like 1400s to the 17th century, there's tons of images, and a lot of them are actually in churches too, with UFOs hovering over buildings. So it's not like.
So
uncommon.
So we're jumping timelines because a lot of our previous episodes we talked about aliens being in ancient Egypt and the Mayan cultures and all the Sumeria and all these. This is back in the day. Now you're starting to talk about them showing up at 1431. It was which is
a great point because we talk about it like thousands of years ago. Well, like this is getting closer to us.
So you think that during this time, right before America was found, that aliens were still visiting? I mean, because I know. I just
you say it. You be a good boy and you say it.
I'm just asking questions. I'm trying
They're still visiting.
I know. I get it. I get it.
So they've always been here.
But you think that?
But that's
because
what
the whole thing is like
over time, everybody's drawing these pictures. The Egyptians, are engraving them on the wall, like the Mayans, the Incas, like everybody's depicting some kind of weird being,
weird object that might
worshiping.
Be, to leave it open ended, weird object that might be interpreted as some kind of alien spacecraft, right? To leave it open-ended, not to be like it's definitely or it's definitely not, to keep this debate fueling. That's what we're here for, to keep the debate fueling. So you think that, do you think in your, and again, we're speculating, we're going out on limbs and all kinds of stuff, and I'm doing jazz hands towards the camera. Do you think that there was a time, obviously there was gaps, but do you think there was a good solid time when aliens stopped visiting us? Like, do you think that the aliens were visiting during the U.S. Civil War, that kind of thing?
Yeah.
What were they doing in the Civil War?
I don't know. It's all propaganda.
Look it up.
It's all propaganda, baby.
Abraham Lincoln was just too tall for his time. You never know. That hat? Only a reptile would wear that hat, I think.
Anyway, so this leads to me having so many questions, and I'm sure you guys too, or maybe you can help answer some of them for me, because if you've been looking into this, because when you go online, there's not a lot of research about this painting, and it just blows my mind. And Romania has always been like on our bucket list to go, and now after finding this image, I'm like, oh my god, I want to go see it. I want to be right there.
I'd like to see it.
I mean, and it's cool. We'll post it on our Instagram. You can always Google it. But
we'll post it on Instagram. You can decide for yourself.
It's so blatant. It's so blatant. But so it leads
blatant
me
is a strong
to
word,
the question.
It's an interesting object.
Like, why is this painting in a church? And I know you said, because they looked up to him. He saved their country.
Well, he was kind of like a lot of that region. He was seen as the one who saved Christianity, because the Ottoman Empire, they were Islamic, and at that time, obviously, it's still
right
a hotbed for claiming territory in the sake of your religion. So I think the reason why he probably is in churches, because for some, especially the really old churches, he was seen as saving Christianity, at least for the time being in that region. Which you
brought up an interesting fact too, like to go a and a backward.
Oh, we're going back to Freaky Friday? You said I brought up an interesting fact?
Backward to his youth, when him and his brother were taken by the Ottoman Empire.
Mm-hmm. Radu was his brother's name, I believe.
They were trying to convert them. And his brother actually went with them and was obedient to their ways, and Vaude wasn't. He was like, no. So, I mean, that was probably another thing, too, where, he was like, who are these people coming in trying to change my religion? So I'm sure that was not sitting well with him, too.
Yeah, so that explains why he's in old churches, because, again, he was kind of, he was insane. Like, he was not a nice Christian, for sure. But he was definitely, in that region, he was kind of a savior of Christianity, at least, again, for the time being. Things flip-flop all the time in terms of religions, but as they see it, he saved Christianity in the area. And
I have another question, what does this image mean? What does this painting stand for? I feel like we're, you sit and you're staring at it and you're trying to interpret it like if it was like a Da Vinci Code. When I'm looking at it, I'm thinking of Da Vinci's art and trying to put the pieces together, because this image is trying to tell us something.
And here's the thing about, I don't know if, and I'm gonna play both sides of the track on this one, because the thing so there's two sides of it in terms of how it looks, in that it's super ornate, right? In the picture, it's super ornate. It looks like an old school 60s Christmas tree ornament, right? Which would make me think that is too ornate. I don't think an alien UFO would have elaborate parade float design on their UFOs. So that makes me think it's ornamental, and that's kind of a design thing.
But if you go into a religious aspect, if they at that time really thought that he was from God, because he was this blessing that saved their culture and their country, chariots of the gods, what if
That guy,
They
Von
depicted
Von
it-
whatever.
What if they depicted it as
sorry.
like
I know there's probably a lot of
the
people
UFO
listening
was
who
a
fans,
chariot from God, saying that he was a God sent, and he saved everybody. That's
What's his name?
debatable.
Von what? I don't remember his name. Von what?
Vlad the Impaler.
No, not Vlad the Impaler.
Oh,
Your boy, Chariots of the God.
Oh.
You gotta learn your boy's name. I keep bringing him up.
I know.
I keep giving him half shout outs with Von whatever. You're not gonna give him any
I
shout
probably
outs.
couldn't even pronounce it right.
Whatever.
Anyways,
Von Steeg. Von Mock?
sure. Anyways,
Sorry. I know there's a lot of fans. Probably people who are listening were actually fans of him, so I apologize.
the biggest question
Seems like a nice guy.
is what I want you guys to think about too, and in the comments on our Instagram, like please share. Is Dracula an extraterrestrial? Like, do you like after looking at that image? You guys, I want to know what you think.
Do you think so? What's your percentage on that?
That he's an
That
extraterrestrial.
he's an ET? Because even if even if you believe, you take the stretch and just based on that one painting, you think that is a UFO and that they came. Fair enough. Do you think he really was hybrid, full blood, or just sold his soul to extraterrestrials, or do you think they just kind of flew by and just kind of did a little scope?
I think that it's one of those things where, like, I don't even want to, like, I'm going to totally butcher this, but there's some, like, native tribe that got, like, a sun disc.
Please don't try it if you don't know it.
No,
Good.
he got a sun
Good.
disc from the gods, and supposedly when he wore it, he would win battles. And he got all that information from the gods. And so if he didn't have this chalice necklace, like it was actually gold, if he didn't have it on him, he wouldn't be powerful. So he'd always have to have it on him at all times. So I don't know if it's the same case, but when Fod, like I said, like made a deal with the devil, but made a deal with the extraterrestrials, or maybe they experiment on him. Maybe they thought, hey, this guy, he thinks he's a badass. Let's like fuck shit up.
Well, if he did make a deal with the devil in that being ETs, he got the shit end of the stick because he lost power a few times. Mm-hmm. He died pretty soon. Like, if he got the Native Americans end of the bargaining stick in terms of making a deal. Like, he got the shaft of it for sure because even though he consolidated power and he warded off a lot of enemies who through intimidation and torture and all this stuff that might normally have been taken or taken over that region, he still didn't. I mean, he lasted a long time for that era, but I mean, it's not like a massive deal with the devil thing. He didn't last 150 years. He didn't live till like half Yoda's, which is a thing. Half a Yoda is a thing. I measure life in Yodas. But he didn't get a super extended life. He didn't retain power 100% of the time. So if he did make a deal,
that is your interpretation. He could be still alive if he wanted to live forever.
what do you think he's doing right now? Do you think he's self-quarantining?
In a coffin.
He's just hanging out in a coffin, just catching up on Netflix.
No, if he's extraterrestrial, which I think, like, this whole thing with us calling them vampires, I think that it's, again, when you look back at when we were talking about the name depiction, like that, like calling it, when his nickname was Son of the Dragon and his father was Dragon. So, like, for me, I'm like, where did that come from? Because you look in Asia, and a lot of people, they say that we're from out of this world, were depicted with dragons. So what if the dragon really implied like some kind of UFO, fiery chariot?
So you think that he this is interesting. This is an interesting script right here.
This is what I do.
That I will not write or complete. Is that, do you think that he went to Vlad II, right? The dad of Dracula. Mm-hmm. he's like, I gotta join a new membership. Like, I'm feeling a little lonely. Like, my friend circle is thinning out. It's hard to make new friends. I'm getting a little older. So he went to this nightly society. He's like, I'll give it a try. Like, I'm a good old fashioned hating old timey Christian. I'll give it a try. And he showed up to this meeting, and to his surprise, Vlad II was going to a meeting full of hybrids and aliens. That this Order of the Dragon was actually run by extraterrestrials. You're welcome. I just fed into your paranoia.
Yes.
Of course it was. Of course it was. It wasn't just a bunch of old...
The possibilities are endless. And, like, I'm just blown away. And I want to know what you guys think about it. Because, like, once you see that image, you're going to be like, holy fuck. Especially, like, all my Dracula fans out there. And, like, majority of people I know. Because I only hang out with cool people that like vampires. Are going to be blown away. Because it's just, like, once we're going to post it on Instagram, you'll see it soon. It's just such a mind-blowing picture.
Do you think that... So, a lot of times... Tangent. A lot of times, the Vlad the Impaler version of the vampire, whether you think he's an ET or whatever, I'll leave that up to you people. Do you think, and this is again a tangent, I'm going off I'm trying to take this off of the rails again. Do you think that, I mean, obviously he has his charisma powers if you believe in the Bram Stoker's version. Not Strokers, Bram Stoker's. That's that's the fan fiction version.
That's after the podcast.
Yeah, that's the Triple X version of Dracula's Bram Stoker's. Bram Stoker's Dracula? I don't know. I'll work on it. Don't worry, guys. I'll work on it. Do you think... so let's take away his charm skills. Do you think that a Dracula figure would be seen as cool these days? Like, if a neighbor was Dracula, would you be like, oh, that guy's a dork?
Like...
Or creepy?
Wait, like, are you talking about, like... Because you can't... Because when you think about Dracula, like, he was powerful. So you have to be talking about somebody that's, like...
No, I'm not talking about, like, once he got into your house and he was, like, flexing his bat muscles and stuff like that. You'd be like, okay. All right, I get it. Like, you're strong.
Okay, wait.
But I'm saying, like,
I'm a very visual person. Does he look like the images?
No, he dresses like Dracula. Like, he dresses like 1800s. Like, What We Do in the Shadows or whatever that show is.
Oh, God. In my 20s, I'd be so down. But now it's kind of like...
You'd be like, that guy's a dork, right? Without his charm or invading your house and overpowering you, because he would be a very powerful figure.
And he wears
like,
makeup,
you saw
right,
Dracula just, like... trying to fit in, being like mowing the lawn at like 2 a.m. Like, you'd be like, that guy's a dork and he's weird and he's creepy. Until he murdered you and sucked your blood, you'd be like, I guess he is kind of cool.
Anyways, tangent, long, shut up. I wanted to say something else about the image.
Is that another t-shirt design? Tangent, long, shut up?
So when you're looking at this image I know you're like, oh, what image? When we post it soon. It's awesome because it says... like something at the bottom, and the translation from Romanian to English is actually, Israel, put your hope in the Lord. And then that's scripture from Psalms 13:1-3. Again, you have a quote from the Bible underneath Vlad the Impaler's house
with
a UFO hanging over it.
It's a church, so they're going to have a religious quote.
And so you're kind of like, for us, like the history that we know of Vlad the Impaler and how horrible...
The Dracula that I know is different. Sorry,
like, what's he doing in a church? And why
what is Dracula doing in a church?
So it really makes you wonder, like, what's going on here? Is there some conspiracy? And there has been conspiracies. We actually should do an episode on that. Definitely the Vaticano, they definitely are hiding alien bodies underneath,
they're hiding bodies and assets to not pay out.
There's all
the victims.
There's all kinds of conspiracies, especially with the Vatican.
The Vatican is like, even if like you're like at the level of like conspiracy theory that I am, that I'm like interested in, and I like talking about it and stuff like that, and I like exploring it, but you don't necessarily like buy into most of it. The Vatican is a creepy place. Like how much old stuff they're carrying, and that has this weird history, a sordid history. Like,
and you guys have heard me talk about it, I think, in our very first episode, is I was raised very Catholic, but being a little bit of a feminist. Where's my girl out over here? Melissa, she knows what I'm talking about. Like, I really 100% believe that in the Bible, things over time and, being, Italian, and being, Catholic, and saying this is, it's kind of like, oh, well, that's your people, that's, and that's your religion. But I definitely believe that the Catholic Church twisted things in the Bible to make women beneath the man.
Sure.
I think if knowing Jesus and knowing the Bible that I know, Jesus treated women just as equal as he treated a man.
Yeah.
100%.
I think here's the thing with the Catholic Church and that kind of thing is I think they got a lot of editing power because they were at the beginning, right? So they had essentially all these people who wrote about this prophet named Jesus and stuff like that, and they culled a lot of it and stuff that might be controversial back then, stuff that might be controversial today, stuff that might be more pro female. They had way too much editing power, and I would like to, as just a curiosity thing, I don't know if we've ever discussed it, but I'm not necessarily a religious guy. You are not a guy, but you're religious.
You just poked my boob.
I did. I'm sorry. As we're talking about feminism, what's my wife? So is that?
I'm used to it. I was asking for it.
And if it was an accident, it's what I was wearing. I'm sorry. Yeah. I was asking for it.
My shirt's too tight.
I look so seductive in black. Yeah, they had too much editing power. So who knows? And to buy into a little bit of the theory of like the Vatican being weird and maybe holding some stuff and holding the what if the Vatican had the dead alien body of Vlad, the Impaler?
Well,
I mean, they have a lot of stuff. They might not even know they have it at this point. They have too much stuff in storage.
The origin of vampires, they say that the very first vampire came from Italy. So, I mean...
Vatican's in Italy. Come on.
Yeah.
2 and 2.
It's a conspiracy.
Makes 22. Yeah, it's... Can I ask you a question? Another tangent? Because that's what we do here.
Sure.
Do you think the Vatican's holding on? So we talked about a few episodes back. We talked about if you thought that the government was holding on to any dead alien carcasses or whatever as specimens. Do you think the Vatican is in possession of any of those? That any aliens?
I've heard theories that there are extraterrestrials buried underneath the Vatican. They have like different chambers that obviously we're not allowed to go to, and I've heard that there's extraterrestrials buried under there. Now again, when you think about heaven, where is it? It's up, like, so we're all extraterrestrials in a sense. So
where is hell? It's in a Walmart.
You actually like Walmart.
I like Walmart.
You go there way too much. Anyway, so for me,
I like to call it
I think
Wallymart
of it
it's
like
fun.
the type of extraterrestrials that I would like to see are what we think of as angels. Like I would love to know that there was like some winged being, like human hybrid with beautiful fluttery wings buried down there.
Do you think they have do you think they have a feather that they're claiming is from an angel wing? Whether they think it is, whether it's not, blah 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 da cha. Do you think they're like, this feather is definitely...
Maybe that's where the lucky feather came from.
Wait, what's a lucky feather?
Oh, don't people carry lucky feathers?
I don't know. I know rabbit's feet, which is weird.
Or think about like natives. Like they wore these beautiful like headpieces with feathers in them. So...
I don't know. I just want to know if the Vatican's got some angel wings.
Sure.
Sure. I'm going to appease you and sure.
Back to the story.
Back to whatever we were talking about.
Let me see. Where am I?
Check your notes. I'm stalling while you check your notes. This is a song that is not worth repeating, so you better hurry up. Not in time. Once again, check your notes.
I wanted because it just popped in my head because I'm ADD. Like I'm reading this, but I'm thinking about 8 other things in my mind. I want to take this time just to give a shout out because we've got like over 200 and how many downloads now?
We hit a milestone, like over 250, 300.
Yeah, and I just want to say thank you guys. Thank you for supporting us and.
Yeah, it's much appreciated. I'm having a blast. Like this is something that is helping out me. It's really, I mean, the kind of stuff I do for a living, it's not necessarily a natural position for me sometimes. And I like the fact that we get to talk and we get to explore and we get to, have people kind of give their ideas and community and fight. We get to fight, which is fun. Win. Well, we're going to say yes. I think it's open-ended. What I want from this, and we're not wrapping things up, but what I want from this podcast is an open-ended thing. I don't want like people 100% on either way. Like it's fine if you are, but the sweet spot for me is like people are like, well, that looks interesting, and like the whole debate and carrying it on. That's,
because like I said, I feel like this is a pretty good podcast for like people that obviously are into aliens, but if they just like conspiracy theories or if they just like vampires, but merging all of that together, I think it's kind of mind-blowing and I think it's great. Like when I was doing research, I was so excited. Like
you were thrilled.
I was like, oh my god, this is going to be such a fun podcast because I can talk about it all day.
And the beautiful thing about this is that I was like, well, this is going to be a podcast about Vlad the Impaler. We're going to talk about all this stuff, like how he was a monster and I was convinced that you were going to think he was a vampire and yada, yada, yada. And he's hanging out with a werewolf from Frankenstein and all that. But you threw in this whole extraterrestrial thing and that, well, honey, congratulations, because you're always surprising me because I did not expect that argument.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep them on their toes. I'm just saying.
Yeah, to all you spouses out there, just keep them on their toes. Just throw out random conspiracy theories every once in a while. When you're cooking dinner, just throw out some random theory.
I feel like you just sparked something that I want to do, and he's going to be like, oh, God. Like, because we love, like, vintage, like, horror, we just, last podcast, if you listen to it.
I consider myself a universal monster.
I mean, we loosely touched on the creature from the Black Lagoon because there were a lot of inspiration of him was the reptilian race. So that movie was all pretty much based on that. So we touched a little bit on that. Now we're talking about Dracula. So, I mean...
Next episode might be Frankenstein. Was he a lizard? I don't know.
Can humans come back to life? Yes. I believe that they can.
The Invisible Man is going to be like the last episode because it's not very interesting. That actually, Invisible Man could get into like conspiracies about like the government creating like, invisibility stuff and they haven't told us yet, which actually they are working on.
Yeah.
They're working on. Of course they're working on it. I don't know how far they've gotten. Don't come at me, Northrop Grumman or any of you other military contract companies. Please. I don't know. I haven't seen anything. And if I saw anything, I wouldn't tell. I promise you.
I would.
She would. For the record, she would.
I would.
So if you're breaking down the house.
Videotaping that. Actually, no. Like the one chance that I had to get documentation of a UFO or whatever craft or a wormhole, whatever I saw in the sky, I just took it all in. I just enjoyed it. And by the time, probably because I was drunk too, but by the time I could remember to bring out my phone, it was already gone. Because it was so just beautiful and the experience was just
like a beautiful butterfly in the sky.
Yeah.
Are you sad, by the way? I don't think we've talked about this, but...
Uh-oh.
What
am I sad about?
Part of this podcast was supposed to be us going to like MUFON events, which is for all y'all who don't know what that is. It's Mutual UFO Open Network. I don't know. It's an
organization where people that have seen UFOs or had any like experience with ExtraNormal activity or sorry, we're extranormal, extraterrestrial activity.
If you have any bad experiences with this podcast,
you document it. You email it to them. If you have images, you upload it. It's like I've said in our very first episode. It's fantastic for people like me. I should call them. I have the date actually written down somewhere of the actual date when I saw what I saw. Because again, I'm saying this again. It would be amazing to see if people in my area or people maybe in a different area that saw the exact same thing, you know?
Yeah, I think the MUFON, as I call it, is doing good work. I think they...
I'm sad that we can't go. Is that what you're going to ask? And I'm sad...
This year there was no MUFON events.
Con, but I guess we couldn't even have gone anyways.
So MUFON was canceled, which is like... They have like events every month where it's like, look, listen to this person talk and act like they know what they're talking about. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But then also we part of this grand scheme of this podcast was to go on site to AlienCon. You're right, was canceled, which is for those who don't know, who might be listening out of state, out of the countries, who are into, I don't know how many people, but who are into this paranormal stuff and extraterrestrial stuff without like tapping into ancient aliens and all that stuff. There was an AlienCon that we went to last year. That was just basically, all that stuff. All the people. All the people were on Ancient Aliens. All that stuff.
If you were someone like me, well, I mean, I can talk to my husband about that stuff, obviously, but and my
not
close
like Giorgio.
friends,
you can't talk
shout out to Susie and Melissa because they don't judge me for my craziness. They'll laugh at me sometimes, but they know that my intentions are always. They're in a good place.
They're always in a good place.
It was just
what if when they're aliens? They might be aliens.
When I went to AlienCon, it was like a kid in a candy store because I was like, "There's people like me here." It's kind of like going to Ozfest for the first time. You kind of look around like,
sure. If you have an eyebrow piercing, it's like going to Ozfest for the first time. You just finally feel like you're part of it.
But yeah, so like for me, it was a big time rush. For him, it was.
Oh, you said big time rush. It was. I had a blast. I enjoyed myself.
Until you fell asleep.
Did I fall asleep? I didn't fall asleep. Did I fall asleep?
You almost fell asleep.
I almost did.
Our daughter fell asleep.
Yeah, she definitely fell asleep. I wanted to join her because some of the stuff is. So some of the stuff like. I like the scientific end of it. Like people like I like the MUFON one where they had a bunch of people talking about their experiences with possible abductions and possible sightings and all that stuff.
Is that the one I talked at? Yeah.
That was the one you talked at. Yeah. And the guy before you, if in case you don't remember, didn't help your case.
I remember.
You want to tell him about that?
No, I think it was a good thing that he went in front of me because it was like, okay, well. Crazy just left, and here's a normal person.
It's like dog shit as a palate cleanser.
He brought like weird, it looked like tissue paper that he like drew pictures on, showing where the alien was and what it looked like. It was just bad. It was just like, I just was like, no, you're making the rest of us look like.
So this guy, insane. To kind of paint the picture of it, so part of this AlienCon thing was going to. There was one panel, so there's multiple panels all over the LA Convention Center. One of the panels was put on, I think, by MUFON, this group that tracks and kind of lets you record whatever sightings you might think you have or abductions and all that stuff. They put on a panel. And so at the end, they talked about, blah, 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 this is the latest and greatest in our organization and all that stuff. At the end, they invited people to come up and possibly share their experiences with sightings, abductions, and stuff. And you happen to be second in line.
Yeah.
You want to tell us about our first guy, your predecessor, your warm-up act to...
Okay. When I say this, I'm not like trying to talk shit on schizophrenia. I'm not trying to like hurt anybody's feelings because I have schizophrenia that runs in my family. Am I schizophrenic? Absolutely not. Have I been tested? Yes, not schizophrenic. Okay? Do not take medication. Drink some alcohol occasionally. Lately, it's been more often. when our child sleeps.
They say some alcohol sales are up 76 or 78%, which is
I believe it.
stat that nobody needs to know, but people are drinking more.
Stupid. It's so stupid, but what else are you going to do at 3 in the morning? But anyway, so he definitely, like, you just know, like, when somebody's off. He definitely was off. Was he schizophrenic? I don't know, but there was definitely something wrong with him. Unfortunately, he needed to take his prescription.
Yeah.
And he wasn't. So it was really sad. So I actually kind of was excited because as soon as it was my turn, and do you remember? It's kind of fucked up, but he was talking so, like, he just was like going on and on. They finally were kind of like, okay, it's her turn now. We only have so much time.
This guy he seemed to have some mental health issues, and he went on with this story about how he saw a UFO. In his car, right? But he was in his car or something like that. But he was going on, and he wasn't making much sense. And he essentially was not. He didn't know. He didn't get the social wrap it up sign from everybody on this panel.
And he had like a piece of paper like this. I'm taking on my notes because he had notes and he had drawings, and he was trying to like go up to the stage and hand it to him. They were kind of like, "Email it to us, sir." Email.
And that's the thing with MUFON. Not to go off too hard, but I think I said off too far, but that's not. I don't know. Who knows? Words, they're fun. Especially fart. Fart is a fun word. But yeah, what was I saying? I don't even know. The thing with MUFON is that they have to, like, even if you're a believer, they have to take in so much stuff that's either sorting. I praise them for this. Is that they have to. Is that they just report stuff. They track stuff. Like, if you have a claim, they'll put it on there. But in terms of them sorting out stuff and trying to figure out what seems feasible and stuff like that, that's got to be a lot of work. Because even if, like, I think you're of whole mind, I think you're sane, and whatever clinical terms are for that. Well, and you truly believe that you saw a UFO or extraterrestrial or something out of the normal, right?
Or a red eye in my mud pie.
You did red eye in your mud pie is the thing.
Because I did.
Yeah, that's episode 1. If you want to go back, she saw a kid, mud eye in the red pie. I got abducted. We're not
mud eye in the red pie.
We're not weighing whose story is better, but I got abducted. She just saw an eye. He
didn't even get abducted. He's not even that cool.
Now I'm claiming it. Now I'm claiming it. Because you
have green eyes.
Because it gives me
gives
me space cred.
Bye.
So them sorting through all that stuff, like the valid claims and the actual sightings versus like people maybe just seeing weird stuff or not registering what might be a normal reality or even what might be something out of the normal but is completely explainable, like the SpaceX launch. I mean, if you didn't have any context, you'd be like, for sure that's an alien. Because the way that when they did those test launches, because we're not far away from Hawthorne, which is where they started launching. I conspiracy theories. Okay. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like that it is explainable whether you believe the explanation is explainable. Like this, to sort through that stuff from MUFON, like they're doing a little bit of God's work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's a great organization.
Yeah. So we went to that. You had to go on before someone who had clear mental health issues, which I don't know if it hurt or helped your case.
I think it did, because even people were coming up to me afterwards. Some guy remember he wanted to do like an interview with, because not only I saw it, 2 other people had seen it as well. So, which was great, because then I didn't really feel like crazy one.
But we haven't had them on the podcast to confirm.
Well,
we don't know.
Well, now,
I mean, I'm not taking just your word from. I need to hear from the other witnesses.
Like a webcam or something, like where we can have them.
I'm not doing a webcam. My body is. That's not what it used to be.
Whatever.
I don't think I'll get that many.
Fucking Zoom. Can we do a fucking Zoom? We'll do a Zoom.
I'm never going to be a cam boy again.
Anyways.
Yeah, we'll get their witness statements. I will get their witness statements. Don't you worry about that.
No, but anyways, it's very cool. I hope they do it again. I think.
So we went to that alien con. It was a blast. Like, even though like you're more on the believer side, I'm more on the skeptic side. I had fun. There was William Shatner there, which he actually had a really good debate with the one of the producers of Ancient Aliens. It was good. Well, this year, because of the whole coronavirus thing, well, before that, they announced that Alien Con was not a thing anymore, and it's now going to be History Con, because I think they were just trying to catch more people with a bigger net. So there's going to be a bunch of ancient alien people and that kind of thing at History Con.
To go to that.
Which I was actually excited because it would have been like a little taste of both for me. I could have got like the alien fun and stuff like that. Also, yeah, and also like more traditional history, like panels and stuff like that would have been a blast. But they, surprise, they canceled it because of this whole coronavirus pandemic thing. So we haven't had really a chance to go out on the field. If you guys have any ideas to get us out there on the field without breaking that social distancing thing, please let us know. You can reach out at extranormalpodcast@gmail.com if you have anything local to Southern California. We have gotten off the spooky train with the ghosts and the paranormal, that kind of thing. But we're definitely gonna have some more episodes about that. So if you have any local haunts or anything like that, or if you saw...
Who said Dracula ain't spooky?
You think... definitely.
Spooky.
Even the 90s Bram Stoker Dracula. I said Bram Stoker again. I can't get it out of my head. I'm thinking about being a cam boy.
No, Bram...
what if...
No,
okay,
no, I would have fucked it up because of you.
Hold on. This is a whirlwind concept. What if I became a cam boy, right? I did...
Oh, they're going to say vampire. Fuck.
Well, pseudo-vampire. What if I became a cam boy, right? Do you know what that is, by the way, a cam boy?
I don't know if I want to know what
it's just a guy, your standard preverts, like, going into, like, live rooms and, like, this is, like, me doing adult things to my body. I feel like I'm trying to explain it to a kindergartner.
Just keep going.
It's a fuckboy for camera, essentially. Like,
what if you do that?
Shove your ding dong. What if I did that? What if I became a cam boy and I dressed like Dracula with, of course, my dick out because I want to get the money, but I call myself Bram Stoker.
I guarantee if you Google that, you probably aren't the first one that came up with that idea.
Probably not. And I have
not that I know from...
To be accurate, I'd have to
experience.
Be the author of Dracula. So I would just dress like in like a tweed sport coat or something like that, and just act like I'm writing a book and call myself
This is my
Bram
life,
Stoker.
Everybody. This is my life.
Mm-hmm. If I were dressed like a vampire, I'd be called Spacula.
I mean, you're furloughed right now, so I mean, well, a little extra income.
If you're playing the drinking game, I said furloughed. She said furloughed. If you're playing the drinking game, yeah. So, yeah, we'd be very interested in doing some field stuff, going to any conferences, in maybe later when they're actually scheduled.
Yeah.
Which I saw, by the way, that I think I told you that fall 2021 is when they first anticipate, at least the health experts. I'm sure a lot of people are questioning, especially who listen to this podcast, are questioning the experts, the health experts. But they're saying, and I'm sure that a lot of, unless things change drastically, at least a lot of these venues and stuff will follow suit, whether you believe the experts or not, that there will be no events till fall 2021. So we might not even have a field reporting day until fall 2021. So that we might be...
insane to think. Yeah, next year.
So...
What the fuck happened to this year?
The fuck? What the fuck?
Shit. I'm praying I have a place to go back to for work after this.
Well, that's... Yeah. So summing it up, Vlad the Impaler...
Okay.
Was
great segue.
It's an amazing segue. You're welcome for that, by the way. There's a reason why they call me Bram Stoker and the Master of Segways.
Okay. Go ahead.
Go ahead, little one.
Give it your all.
Give me more on Vlad.
Yo, I'll tell you what about
Vlad.
What else do you want to know about him?
I don't know. Tell me about what was his favorite color?
Red.
That's a good guess.
Wait. Okay, what was his favorite material of shirts that he would like to wear?
Fucking satin. 100% satin. That'll pervert like satin, 100%. You know.
Wait. This is a real, like, if you're a true vampire fan, you'll know the answer to this. Silver or gold?
Fuck, I don't know. Silver?
No, gold.
Because they don't want to hang out with werewolves, so they wear silver a lot. They're like, oh, fucking hang out with werewolf again. Wait, no, why gold?
Well, oh yeah, I think I was getting confused with
werewolves. No.
Oh my gosh, I totally was.
Yeah, no, werewolves do not like silver.
Alcohol, because it will kill them. But no crucifixes.
Do you think any werewolves wore like silver as like, you know, like when people like have like dairy allergies or intolerance, but they love ice cream so much that they just have to dip in and they'll just take the diarrhea? Do you think that a werewolf was just so obsessed with silver jewelry that he just wore it anyways, and it hurt him a little bit and he got a little diarrhea, but he's like, I gotta wear this silver necklace?
No.
No?
Nope.
You don't think that was a
I
thing?
think so.
Why would you say that? It seems logical.
Because what is he getting out of it? Unless they're staring at themselves
He's getting
in the mirror.
the joy of wearing a silver necklace, because some people like that. No.
Sure. Next question.
Do you think if there's a lot of Frankensteins, do you think they would have like switch out your little bolts at home?
Do an episode of Frankenstein.
Is that next? Are we just going through the Universal monsters?
That's what I said.
And pretending like they're real?
The vintage monsters. We already got 2 down.
But we gotta. A lot of people listen
and
for.
If we did a werewolf one, we can. He's been like really boycotting this. We can throw in a little Bigfoot werewolf.
I haven't been. Oh no.
Maybe like a collab.
Child, you've confused me because I am.
They could be possibly cousins, ancestors.
Honey, which is offensive. You have confused me. I am 100% down to talk about Bigfoot. Whether he's a guy in a suit, which I appreciate that guy, or whether he's a Yeti or an abdominal snowman at Disneyland, killing people on the ride. Most deaths at Disneyland is on that ride, the Matterhorn. Oh. You didn't know that?
No.
Yeah, most deaths at Disneyland is on that ride. Disneyland's pretty much safe, except for that ride is a little bit of a mini death trap. It's a mini death trap.
What's the train one called?
Oh, someone's died on that because they
were actually decapitated.
But more people have died on the Matterhorn than any other ride.
Cool, I'm glad.
Still fairly safe. If you think about how many people have gone through there, you're probably not going to die. There's a very good chance you're not going to die. Will you die? Maybe.
Anyways, this is a really good question to see if you guys would want to let us know in the comments on our next post if you guys would want to talk about this, because I have a little bit of a conspiracy. This is totally not researched or anything. So it'd be interesting to see if you guys agree with me. What's so funny?
Just I have a theory. It hasn't been researched. I don't know if it's true.
It's my own theory. Why
Go for it.
I come with my own theory?
You can totally. Einstein, you know what? Einstein?
Yeah, so don't laugh.
When he came up with the E equals MC squared, just the thought. You're welcome, science.
Anyways. So I feel like something about the chupacabra. I'm probably saying it wrong. Sorry. And
should we have a drinking
Bigfoot
game?
And what are they called? Werewolves. I feel like they might be possibly in the same family.
We got to get an expert on chupacabras for sure. Should we have a drinking game? Should we start a drinking game every time we pronounce? Because I know I am definitely a culprit for this. I think we both are. But every time we say a word wrong, should we have a drinking game? Because people,
well, I mean,
we'd have to pay for their ambulance bills if we did that.
Fucking drinks, because we're already sure.
We'd have to pay for their hospital bills because, yeah, I know for myself I say a lot of words mispronounce, and I should know better.
Anyways, but yeah, I think that this was a really fun podcast.
I think so. I had a blast. So let us know. I think that we're also open. I think it'd be fun. It'd be a blast to get topics too from people. I would love to get topics. If you got a topic, give it to us in the next couple of days. We might feature it on the next episode. We might talk about it. We might actually research it. We'll talk about it. We might actually research it if you're lucky. But yeah, let us know. Let us know if you have any comments. If you've been listening back to the back catalog and you just got into me being abducted. I'm saying it's a real thing now. We're space ghosts, or my wife being violated by a ghost on the Queen Mary.
Don't even tease that you were abducted.
I'm gonna tease that because I want people to listen back. I want people to feel.
You have to remember.
Well,
you could just say, "Oh, aliens walked by and gave me a side eye," like from my bedroom. Like, no.
They were introverted aliens. They didn't want to talk. So how about this?
They're wearing shirts or pants.
If y'all's want to get a real field investigation, what if I was hypnotized to bring out this dream and see. Flush it out. Because isn't that how a lot of people...
There's that crazy lady from Ancient Aliens that you hated that could do it.
That could be... that sentence could be plopped into a lot of...
she was actually one of the panelists at Ancient Aliens.
Oh, yeah. She's the benevolent alien one, right? That aliens are just here to comfort us and make us feel better.
She was pretty cool. Like, when I watched, she hypnotized somebody on one of the episodes.
I'm not being hypnotized by her.
But then, hearing her in person, I don't know. Something about... Like, she was just a little way too out there for me. Like, I'm into all kinds of shit, but, like, she was, like, taking it into this other spectrum that I wasn't even, like, getting.
And this might be inside baseball, but the one I do like, if you do, I would imagine a lot of people watch Ancient Aliens. If you don't, I apologize. I usually fall asleep halfway through, so don't feel so bad. But the British guy with the eyebrows, I like him. He was on that same panel.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's cool.
I'm going to call him Mr. Buggles.
He was bored because she just fucking
Well, she was talking about seeing aliens in dreams, and it's just like, for him, I think, to give him credit, I don't know how much, again, I don't know how much he's postulating is true, but I do believe that he believes it, and I do believe that he's trying to find out. I think the other lady is a charlatan. I think she's selling snake oil. I think that the British dude, he's actually kind of looking for answers. Whether he's right or wrong, like, let's go for the debate, and I think that's good. But the lady, I think she's just selling her books. Yeah. That's my hot take.
I don't know.
Hot, cold take.
So we need to, I think, decide whether we want to, talk about that in our next subject.
Let us know. If you don't let us know, we're more than happy getting a topic. Lord knows that there's...
If I can find somebody once we can all be amongst each other, but somebody to hypnotize him, I'm freaking down. But I'm a little scared, though.
Please don't.
Think of that movie. What was that movie?
Please don't turn me into chicken. I do not want to.
What was that movie where, like, with the teacup that like
Oh, Get Out.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Don't
do that.
That's like what I'm a little bit weirded out about. Like, it would have to be somebody I know. Actually, he's retired, but I bet you he would do it. One of my clients' dads.
You know a retired hypnotist?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, this has been an episode of Extra Normal Podcast. My name is Chris.
Thanks for tuning in.
You can find us on Extra Normal Podcast on Instagram. You can find us on Extra Normal P on Twitter. Again, accidental, now on purpose. You can email us if you have any encounters. If you have any thoughts about Vlad being an ET or being a vampire, please let us know if you think we're right or wrong.
All of your guys' interpretations of the subject at hand, because I really feel I'm really pumped about it.
We will post that picture too, so you can kind of interpret on your own. Right now. See, literally right now,
it's waiting.
When you hear this, it's already done. Extra Normal Podcast on Instagram, Extra Normal P on Twitter, Extra Normal Podcast at gmail.com. If you want to email us, give us a topic, give us a story, give us an experience, all that stuff. Where can they? To
our previous podcasts, enlighten us, educate us too.
Listen back if you haven't. If this is your first episode, listen back. We've had a lot of personal experiences, Again, you've been violated by a ghost. I've been abducted by aliens. All that stuff. Let us know. Where can we find you?
I'm at Darling Dolly with a 0 on Instagram. And I know that's annoying and it's hard to find, but that's all that they have.
Whatever. And you got resin merch too at the Dollhouse Sparkles. And you got some cool tutorials on hair and stuff like that because you're...
_ the Dollhouse Salon _
Your side trade is hair. We're going to say this is your main trade because we love this. But your side, the pay the bills at this point is hair.
And passion.
And passion. Yeah. Yeah. But this is your true passion, right?
Of course. Well, okay. Being by your side wherever you are.
That's right. Okay.
No, I'm talking about aliens. And
anyways.
Really,
thanks for listening. Thank you for listening. And always be friends of aliens.
And always stay awkward.